My name is Zach and welcome back to Case Digital. In this video, we're tackling the question of how to use if, elif, and else in Python. So without further ado, let's hop right in and start coding. And like I mentioned in this video, we're tackling that question of how you yourself can create an if, elif, and else statement in Python. Now, that may be a mouthful, but in this video, we're going to kind of cover how you can create the syntax for that statement, how you can use it, and give you kind of some examples on what you can do. And then we're going to touch on a little bit on why ordering it when using an if, elif, and else statement can matter. So without further ado, let's hop right in. Let's start talking about the syntax of an if, elif, and else statement. If, elif, and else statement is actually pretty simple. So we're going to continue off of our last video. If you haven't checked that out, you can see the link above where we were talking about if-else statements and how to create those. And in that video, I basically showed you how you can take, you do your if, your condition, the code it's going to run if you hit this, if that condition is met, and then if that condition is not met, you can use else to essentially say, well, then I want you to run this other piece of code. Now with if, elif, and else, it's essentially doing the same thing. It's just you're saying like, hey, like I want you to check another condition before you check, or before you go to my else condition. And so essentially all you have to do is do, if I just continue this in my comment section right here for our syntax, I'll do elif, that's the keyword. So elif is the keyword. It basically means else if. Essentially they just combined it in one. In other programming languages, you'd actually write something out like else if and then your condition, but in Python they just shortened it where you just do elif and then say condition 2, and then you say the code that you want it to run there. So the code to run. Now what's nice about this is in an elif statement, or in this elif or this if, elif, else block, basically this is just a block of code that you're saying, hey, I want you to test in my, wherever I'm at in my code, I want you to, if this condition met, do this, else do this, else do this. And that's what you can use it for. You can just do elif, then if this other condition is met, then do this. And what's nice is you can actually stack a bunch of these up on top of one another, and you can just do like condition 3, or I can do condition 4, and so on and so on. And you can have a bunch of essentially like elif conditions, and then if none of those are met, essentially what this is saying is like, if this first condition is not met, then go to this next condition. If that condition is not met, then go to the next, and so on and so forth. And if none of them are met, then just do my else condition. And that is essentially the syntax of how you can create an if, elif, and else statement in Python. Hey, I just want to jump in real quick, say thank you so much for watching the video so far. If it's providing you value, please click that like button below. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so we can learn more about software development and programming. And well, speaking of programming, let's get right back to it. Of an if, elif, and else statement as shown here. Now let's see how you could use this. Now let's go down here to our example that we're using in our if-else video and essentially add on to this. Let's just go with this basic example of age, and let's say age is 20. And then let's just say if age is less than or equal to 18, we're just going to say you're not old enough. Now we wanted to check another question if age is obviously older than. So we're going to say elif age is older than 18, then we're going to print out you are an adult. What are you? And then we're going to just leave that here and we're going to run this. And we're going to leave it at age and we're going to see what happens. So we can say Python examples, hi, and it says, hey, you're an adult, because what happened is it evaluated the age is less than or equal to 18, and it says, well, age is 20, so 20 is less than or 18 equals false, so that condition is not met. Therefore, we're going to check the next condition, and now we're going to say, well, if age is greater than 18, then we're going to say pronoun adult. And then we're just going to say, we're going to go here, if you're older than, we're going to do another condition. We're going to say, like, if age is less than or equal to 21, you're an adult, ... but not really. Let's just say that. And then if it's older than 21, essentially you're just going to say, now you're really an adult. Really an adult. I don't know. I'm just making up numbers and putting in statements. So let's just see how this one works. So again, if we run it, age is equal to 20, we can see that you're an adult, but not really. Now if we change it to say 21, then it says you're still an adult, but not really. But now what happens if we go to say 22? You can see it says that you are really an adult. Now you're really an adult. And that's because what it did is it checked this condition, this is not met. Then it goes and says, okay, check this condition. That condition wasn't met. And now, since that's not met, it's just going to default to our else case, which is basically like your catch-all. Like if nothing else works, you put it in your else code, and that's what you wanted to have run. So that is basically how you can use, and a basic example of how you can use and create an if, elif, and else statement in Python. I want to let you know that ordering does kind of matter when you're actually using an if, elif, and else statement in Python. And the reason I say that is because you kind of want to have your most important if condition, or the one that you want to check first, be basically the main condition that's in the if statement, not the elif statement. And the reason I say that is because if we switch this up and I say 21 is here and 18 is here, and we want it to, and I can even switch these as well. If I want it to get to 18, like, so for example, if I put 22 in and we run this, like we did before, then you should get, now you're really an adult. And that's because 22 is not less than or equal to 21, so that's false. And it goes down, checks this one, and then goes into the else condition, which is our catch-all, right? But what happens if I actually change this to 20? Well, if I change it to 20, like we thought, this condition it checks will be first. 20 is less than or equal to 21. So it goes to you are an adult, but not really. Well, that's kind of what we expected because, 20 is less than 21. But now what happens if because of this ordering here, what happens if I change this to like 5? If I change that to 5, what's going to happen? It says you are not an adult. You are an adult, but not really. And it's because 5 is less than or equal to 20. So we wanted it to go here, but it went here. Now, this is where you can get into things where I have a video that talks about using multiple conditions, and you can put multiple conditions in if statement to kind of to catch some of this stuff. Like you can do if age is, you can put on one line essentially if age is between two different numbers, then do this. Otherwise, do something else. But like if you were just going if, elif, and else statement, the ordering kind of matters because if you don't have like the thing, like your lower bound essentially, for this example, like if you don't have your lower bound, like 18 first, then if you have a condition that's set up where if its age is less than or equal to 21 in the top condition, well, if your lower bound is below that, then obviously you're always going to hit this condition, and it's always going to you're always going to land in here and run this piece of code, whatever you have here, rather than what you're probably intending to do, which is jump down and get into this section of code. And so that's why you kind of need to keep in mind of the ordering and how to arrange it when you're using an if, elif, and else statement block, because now you can see if we switch this back to 18, and then this is 21, and we run this, and let's switch the tags back as well so we know, you'll see that you're not old enough. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to say, well, 5 is less than 18, so I want to hit this section of code, not this section of code, even though technically age is less than or equal to 21, which in this case, because age is 5. So that's just a little caveat to make sure that when you're creating if, elif, and else statement blocks, just to make sure to keep in mind the ordering of those conditions and what could possibly happen based upon how you order those and what your code is trying to do. So yeah, try that out. Create some of your own if, elif, and else statement blocks and test it out. See what you can create. And if you have any questions or comments, or if you have any questions, leave them in the comment box below, and I'll be happy to try and reach out and answer or create another video to help kind of further explain this concept of if, elif, and else statements. Hope this video provided you value and helps you on your programming journey, especially when trying to create if, elif, and else statements in Python. So without further ado, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. And if this video provided you any value, hit the like button. And until next time, keep on coding and have a good rest of your day.